On Larry King Now, I welcome back Slipknot and Stone Sour frontman Corey Taylor. Why are you in two bands?
Because I get bored really easily.
Do you have a favorite?
No, I mean, I love what I get to do with both, you know? I get to do more rock and roll with Stone Sour and then all like the heavy, crazy stuff with Slipknot, you know? So I guess I'm just greedy.
What do people get wrong?
That we're satanic, that we're like trying to encourage people to hurt each other, you know? Like that's kind of how they try to steer people away, is by using that kind of dogmatic weirdness.
So what's the image of Americans now?
A lot of people look at us as obnoxious. They look at us as kind of meddling. They look at us as the preening, pretentious.
Are they
jerks.
wrong?
Depends on the person, I guess. Depends on who they're talking about.
Plus,
he's a businessman who is going to try and run America Inc. And that doesn't work. That's not what governments do, as far as I'm concerned. And I may be naive, but I keep trying to give him a chance, and he keeps shooting himself in the foot.
It's all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now, a return appearance for Corey Taylor. His second appearance on this program. He's a Grammy Award-winning and multi-platinum selling lead singer for Slipknot and Stone Sour, two of the world's most renowned heavy metal and rock bands. Off the stage, the Iowa native is also a New York Times best-selling author. He's penned books like Seven Deadly Sins and You're Making Me Hate You. His newest is America 51, a probe into the realities that are hiding inside the greatest country in the world. It serves as a unique and at times critical examination of American contemporary culture and politics. He's a lot more than a rock singer or a heavy metal singer, and it's great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me back, man.
Before we get into the book, you're currently touring with your band Stone Sour after the release of the new album Hydrograd, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it's kind of an imagined word, really.
Imagined word.
Yeah.
And how does the album differ from the past work of Stone Sour?
It's a lot more rock and roll, to be honest. Like the older stuff.
More musical.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. A little more, not as riff-based. I mean, there's still some of that stuff on there, but there's big chords, big, you know, like big melodies, huge melodies.
Do you write them?
I contribute, yeah. If I don't come up with them myself, we kind of work together on it.
How many in the band?
Five people.
How did it get named?
Stone Sour came from me and our old drummer. We were stressing, trying to figure out, it was like we needed a name, and he was sitting at a bar, and he was reading a menu, and he called me up, and he's like, okay, I've got Ocean Green. I said, next. No thank you. And he said Stone Sour, and we both kind of paused, and we were like, huh, let's sleep on that. And then it just kind of
doesn't mean anything, does it?
Doesn't really mean anything, yeah. It's kind of like Metallica. It doesn't really mean anything, but the music that you make kind of defines the name.
Why are you in two bands?
Because I get bored really easily.
So is Slipknot, do you have a favorite?
No, I mean, I love what I get to do with both, you know? I get to do more rock and roll with Stone Sour and then all like the heavy, crazy stuff with Slipknot, you know? So I guess I'm just greedy.
What's special about the rock and metal fans?
The devotion, to be honest.
Because the country fans are also.
Exactly, yeah. There's something about, I mean, you know, you got the same fans for AC/DC for 40 years, Rolling Stones 50 years, Led Zeppelin, a band that hasn't toured since 1981, you know? So it's just the devotion that comes from that type of music, I guess.
Why doesn't it get the respect of the general industry?
I think there's a stigma attached to it that a lot of people, for the most part, unless you're looking for it, they don't want stuff that's too subversive. You know, they want the easy stuff. That's why pop does so well, like the sweeter candy kind of melodies. But rock, you got to look for it. Like you grow up missing something in your life, and when you find rock and metal and punk for the most part, you just kind of go, that's me.
All young people?
No, it's very generational.
Really? You mean
I'm on third generation Slipknot fans right now, which is insane to me. Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
They're in their 60s and 70s?
They're in their 40s, having kids, you know. I got 50-year-old Slipknot fans who have had kids who are now having kids and bringing them to our shows.
What do people get wrong about that?
That we're satanic, that we're like trying to encourage people to hurt each other, you know? Like that's kind of how they try to steer people away, is by using that kind of dogmatic weirdness.
You have a special relationship with a lot of people in the music business, right?
Yeah.
You cross genres.
I do, yeah.
Like, would people be surprised to know that you...
I think they would have a long time ago, but now, because I've talked about it so much and I've tried to turn other people on to like different types of music, that it kind of makes sense now. Like, you know, when I talk about wanting to do more acoustic stuff or like dabbling in jazz stuff, like they kind of go, oh, okay, well, it's...
Who's someone you'd like to collaborate with?
Trent from 9 Inch Nails. I've wanted to work with him forever. Like, I'm one of the biggest fans of him and his songwriting.
Are there rappers you like?
Yeah, JayZ. I'd love to work with JayZ, just because his mind is so massive, you know? I think it would be really, really cool.
Your 14-year-old son sang with you?
Yeah.
In one of your performances? Is he going to be a rock star?
I guess. I mean, he handled it. Like, he got up on stage like he had been doing it for 20 years and I did a signing in Ridgewood, New Jersey, not too far from where we played it. And everyone in line was just like, I saw your son, he was amazing. Like, so it was just an overwhelming pride night for me, you know. I was just,
Is he your only child?
No, I have three. I have 3 kids.
The last time you were here, you told me Stone Sour and your other band are quite competitive, and you feel you have 2 mistresses.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Are you more in the mood for one than the other at various times? I mean...
It depends on what's going on. Like, if I'm writing music, I instinctively know if one's for one and the other's the other. But it's pretty easy for me to kind of click on that mindset and go on stage and do both.
Slipknot hasn't released a new album in a few years. You've teased that there's an album. Is there one?
Yeah, some of the guys are working on music right now and kind of putting demos and stuff together. They said they'd send me some stuff.
Is there ever a time where both bands want to tour at the same time?
Well, I tell you what, if my son keeps going the way he is, I'll send him out with Stone Sour and I'll handle Slipknot.
Before we go to break, the music world lost a legend in Linkin Park frontman Chester Bennington.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
He was a good friend of mine, yeah.
He killed himself, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea why?
He fought what a lot of us fight, which is that serious depression, that heavy depression.
Many of his fans blamed him for being cowardly.
Yeah, which I don't agree with. You know, it's unless you've walked in those shoes, you don't understand the pain, the weight of kind of carrying that along. And there's no right way to deal with it. There's no universal fix-all, so you spend your whole life trying to find what works for you. I'm just glad I got the time that I had with him, you know? He was a sweetheart of a guy. He was amazing.
Next, Corey Taylor on the genesis of his new book, America 51, and the man of what feels like every hour, Donald Trump. Heard of him? Don't click away. We're back with Corey Taylor. His new book is America 51, getting terrific reviews. It's called A Probe into the Realities That Are Hiding Inside the Greatest Country in the World. You write in the first chapter, this will be a pretty unflinching look at how the United States of America lives and breathes in this day and age. Some of you may not like it, but I hope it'll be something approaching fair. But just like you, I'm going to be my best to be optimistic, not naive. I'm going to try to be proactive, not so negatively reactive. I'm going to sit down all sides and really try to figure out how the we got here, man. Okay. What is this a play off
Area 51, yeah.
Why a play off that?
Well, because the book was originally going to be kind of me talking about some of the cool places that I'd seen in my travels and like through America, you know, like the regionally centric stuff, like the Georgia Stones, you know, like the people kind of know about them but not really, just stuff like that, you know, something very positive. And then obviously in the last year or so, the climate has changed, and I felt like, and watching everything change, I felt like the middle voice was not being represented. You know, it seems like we have these zealots on both sides screaming over the top of our heads and really only kind of towing certain party lines. And we're all kind of in the middle with both feet on both sides of that kind of chasm going, well, I can't identify with any of this because I'm not all one and not all the other.
You're a history buff.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? How did we get to this?
It came from a shift in history, because with the way the technology is, it's bringing out a certain intensity in a lot of people, especially with like social media, where it's a one-sided argument. That's all Twitter is. As you scroll through, it's a one-sided argument and you're not seeing the other side of it. So people look at that as the new conversation. But a conversation takes two people, it takes more than one person. So this was me reacting to that, going, well, hold on a second. Before we start making changes like that, we need to start talking to each other and start screaming at each other.
You travel a lot with your bands. Yeah. What's the image of Americans now?
I mean, it depends on where you are, but obviously it's not great, you know? I mean, we were always kind of like the loud cousins in any country anyway, you know?
Ugly American.
Yeah, as America, yeah. But now it's gotten even worse, you know? Just our reputation precedes us. And a lot of people look at us as obnoxious. They look at us as kind of meddling. They look at us as the preening, pretentious.
Are they
jerks.
wrong?
Depends on the person, I guess. Depends on who they're talking about, you know? Because there's people like me who, I love traveling the world, but I also like kind of tucking in the background. I don't try to lord anything over anybody. I'm just trying to enjoy the country. But as soon as I'm made to feel, like as soon as people find out I'm American, they immediately kind of stick that stigma on me. And now I have to deal with it. And now they're rude, and now this, and now that. So it's almost like you got people like me who just want to enjoy the country, but then there are other people who come in, guns blazing, I mean, meaning their mouth, and destroy it for everybody else.
When you see I've been to Norway.
Yeah.
There's a country that works. Now, there's
Beautiful.
only 5 million people there.
Yeah, beautiful.
But they have a single-payer system. Mm-hmm. There's nobody makes 10 times more than somebody else.
Yeah.
Could that work here?
I don't know. I don't know if that would work with what we've purported to be the American dream, you know? Because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being capitalist. There's nothing wrong with trying to get by and trying to make as
You're
much
a
as you
capitalist.
can. Absolutely. But I also have empathy for other people. And it's when that empathy gets stepped on by the capitalism that we start to burn bridges and we start to turn against people, and we look at them as dollar signs and not as people.
After the break, Corey's talking about strange fan encounters and weird jobs and biggest risks in a round of If You Only Knew. We'll be right back. We're back with Corey Taylor. The new book is America 51. Politically, you see yourself, I understand, a little left of center, but not part of the Hollywood liberal elite.
No.
Where do you separate from them?
I separate it from the fact that I'm at least willing to listen to moderates on the right and look at ideas as far as like from a conservative standpoint. Maybe that's because I grew up in Iowa, which is very much a swing state. I disagree with the fact that it seems like everyone's willing to attack people who aren't towing that liberal line, just as much as the conservatives are. And
you mentioned the word moderate.
Yeah.
You know moderates?
Well, a lot of my friends are. You know, a lot of my friends are fiscally conservative and yet socially liberal, which I feel like 98% of the country is, but nobody's standing up and saying it.
So liberals get wrong things about conservatives, and conservatives
Yeah.
get wrong things about liberals. See, but the moderates are supposed to be, we are a nation of compromise. We're a republic, we're not
Exactly.
a democracy. What's not working?
Kind of circling back to that social media thing, where everyone on social media, they tweet something and then that's it. They feel like that's their standpoint, they're right, that's their opinion, and if you come at them, they attack you. So that's the death of the conversation. Compromise takes a conversation. It takes working things out. It takes seeing the other side. It takes empathizing and relating and seeing yourself in the other person when it comes to a different point of view. And it's just not there right now.
You were unhappy with the election of Donald Trump,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Has anything caused you to change that unhappiness?
No, not at all.
What do you make of this president?
I'm not going to sit here and call him a Hitler like a lot of other people will. I think he's just a massive ego. He's a businessman who is going to try and run America Inc. And that doesn't work. That's not what governments do, as far as I'm concerned. And I may be naive, but I grew up watching different programs and different things and different forms of deregulation, and it's never gone the right way for the middle class. And to everybody who keeps telling me to give him a chance, I keep trying to give him a chance, and he keeps shooting himself in the foot.
Would you want to meet with him?
No, not really. I mean, well, I can't say that, you know, because I would meet with anybody, you know. I mean, if I said no, that would defeat the whole purpose of having the book. I mean, it'd be hard for me to keep my dislike at bay, because I'm just that guy.
What do you think 2018 could see a Democratic Congress?
I think so. I mean, at this point, anything's possible. I mean, there's a majority of Republicans on both houses and the Supreme Court and the presidency, and nothing's getting done. So what else could happen?
A lot of states where gerrymandering, you can't get elected.
Yeah, this is very true.
You look into 2020, you have any favorites? Is there a candidate you really like?
I don't know. I mean, it's funny too, because people are already starting to kind of make their way through the swing states, not only from a presidential standpoint, but from both houses of Congress. They're working their way through Iowa. People were showing up at the Iowa State Fair. They're working their way through Ohio, Pennsylvania, that whole Rust Belt thing. It's going to be contentious. The next 2 years are going to be very interesting.
What makes Iowa Iowa? Why is it always so puzzling?
It's because, I don't know. I mean, it's a very interesting place, because in a lot of ways, it's exactly what I grew up as. You know, it's conservative on the surface,
but there are pockets of liberalism.
Exactly, and huge and not just in like the big places like the college cities like Ames or Des Moines and Iowa City, but also in the very rural places. You know, and I think it's because our sense of family doesn't just hold to what the party line is for family. We've seen people in all kinds of different family situations where, you know, gay cousins being married together. And Iowa was one of the first places to legalize that. So it's almost like we've embraced it because we understand that family isn't just that sort of family.
What do you want people to get out of America 51?
That I'm not saying one side is right and one side is wrong. I think everybody's screwed right now, and until we start talking to each other, it's going to stay that way.
We play a little game of If You Only Knew.
All right.
Childhood celebrity crush.
Oh, Samantha Fox. You remember her? She was a British singer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was,
Biggest risk you ever took?
Going on the road with Slipknot.
Favorite city to perform in outside the United States?
London. No, Glasgow. Glasgow in Scotland.
Really?
It's amazing, yeah. It's off
because?
The Scots they have all of the great stuff that the British have, but they're also insane. Just, like, they don't have that diminutive kind of reserve going on. Not that that's not like that in Britain, but the Scots, plus half the time you don't know what they're saying because of their accent, so you have to pretend that the music's too loud and you lean in. So.
Strangest fan encounter.
I found out Donnie Wahlberg is a fan, which to me is crazy.
Strange
yeah,
to you?
Very cool. It's super cool. One of the coolest dudes I've ever met.
Best piece of advice you ever got?
Take care of your money and take care of your family.
Worst piece of advice?
Buy this car.
Something we should be paying more attention to?
We should be paying way more attention to local elections and the people who represent us in that area.
Proudest accomplishment?
Seeing my son turn out the way he has, it's pretty rad.
Place we'd find you on a day off?
At work. I got a day off from this. I got to go over here and do this one.
Craziest stage theatric you ever pulled off on tour?
Oh, man. Well, I went on nude once, but
You went on nude?
Yeah. I went on.
What led to that? Were you stoned?
Well, Jack Daniels definitely had a hand in it, but it was a good show. Thank God it was hot in there, you know.
Is there some stunt you wanted to perform and didn't?
I've always wanted to do that thing where, kind of like what Paul Stanley does, where he puts the foot in the rope and he swings all the way out to front of house. Like they usually do it on Love Gun. And I've always wanted to do that, but I always wanted to do it all the way around the arena, almost on like a chain, kind of like have somebody pull me, but like you slip your foot into the rope, kind of, but not held, but not flying. Like you're holding onto the rope like this.
Tarzan.
And they tin you, yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, that would be rad. And I just high five as many people as I could, as I could.
If not music, then what?
I wanted to be a history teacher for a very long time. Maybe
American
it was something, yeah.
World.
Well, world actually, because then I could really kind of do everything.
What's the weirdest job you ever had? Maybe it is groups.
Well, I did work at a porn shop for about 4 years, so.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Something you wish you were better at?
Managing my time.
When we return, Corey Taylor will take your questions from social media. His book is America 51, a probe into the realities that are hiding inside the greatest country in the world. We'll be right back on Larry King Now. We're back with Corey Taylor. His new book is America 51. David asks, musician Kid Rock has teased a run for the U.S. Senate from his home state of Michigan. What do you think?
No.
Do you know him? I've interviewed him.
I've never met him. I've heard he's really, really cool, but I think the worst thing that people can do is assume that you can fill a role that you have no experience in. I mean, we're kind of seeing that with the president right now, so there you go.
All right, at Gogo92 on Twitter, when did you realize you could sing?
When I was 10, actually. My cousin, Lisa, was listening to me sing along to Journey, Separate Ways. So I was pretty, like 82, I think, like something like that. And she dragged me out in the living room and made me sing that song for all of my cousins and my grandma and my aunts and uncles and everything. I looked up and they were all like smiling, and that's when I knew that I was like, oh, I'm good at something.
That's Steve Mike on Twitter. Whose idea was it to add masks to your Slipknot act? You wore it last time you were here.
Yeah. That was actually something that was in place before I joined the band. It was one of the reasons why I loved Slipknot as a local band. There was just something fearless about them and artistic and crazy.
Did you design your own mask?
I do, yeah.
At Davies994 on Twitter, if you could collaborate with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
I would have loved to have done something with Bowie. He was
great
like one of my. It's one of my one regrets is I never got to meet him. He's
I
awesome.
interviewed him. He was a great guy.
Yeah, nice.
Joey Meekum on the Larry King Now blog. Do you think Trump will ever change his ways?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he approaches his politics the way he approaches his business, and that hasn't changed in, 40 years? So I'm not holding my breath. At
KJM1016 on Twitter, do you think we could ever see a female member of Slipknot? Have you ever considered it?
Well, I've never considered it, but I wouldn't see why not, It's like a female Doctor Who, why not? There's nothing that says you can't do it.
Morgan S. on the Larry King Now blog. I know you've worked in film before. Any plans to act in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I get offered roles every once in a while. It all depends on my time, like my schedule and everything. But I loved doing it. I loved being, part of the cast and, hanging out with the crew, and then seeing it back was like, it was awesome. It was really cool.
Morgan S. also asked, what kind of movies do you like to watch?
Oh, any kind of bad horror movie. I will watch that, and I will Mystery Science Theater the hell out of it, like all night long. Like I just love doing that.
Nancy Sands on the Larry King Now blog. Is it true you believe in ghosts and the paranormal?
Yes, yeah.
Have you seen a ghost?
Yeah, I've seen a few.
Where?
Kind of connected to me, like in the different houses that I've lived in. There's a handful of them that have kind of connected themselves to me over the years. I haven't seen them lately, just because I've been kind of all over the world, So
what do you believe happens when you die?
I think the energy of our soul can be imprinted with the force of our will, and it becomes a sort of intelligent energy that then can attach itself to different sorts of energy sources like us, and then it's almost like a reflection of real life.
With conscious thought?
I don't know if it's conscious thought or not. I think they react to different things.
What do ghosts look like?
In a lot of ways, it's a reflection of what their mind's eye was, like what they thought they looked like in life, you know, how we see ourselves.
They're all
in
dead
our heads.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you also believe in life in outer space? You named this America 51. I've been at the Area 51, or close to it as you can get.
I believe in I believe in the idea that there's life out there. I'm not exactly an ancient alien believer or anything like that, but it would be silly to think that there's not a form of life out there, you know?
Paranormal means, what do you believe in besides ghosts?
Paranormal, to me, the reason I wrote the book about that was because I didn't subscribe to the different, like, supernatural ideas of it. I wanted to look at it from more of a scientific idea. I'm still not completely satisfied with what I came up with, but I mean, it was at least a start.
When the first time you saw a ghost?
It freaked me out.
Where was it?
It was at my grandma's house, actually.
How old were you?
I was about 12, and not only did I see it, but I heard it, like it said my name, and I was like totally sober, I promise, I was totally sober. And it freaked me out so bad I ran upstairs and I sat on my grandma's couch with a baseball bat until the sun came up. It was,
wow.
It freaked me out.
Corey, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you for having me, man.
The book is America 51. Corey Taylor is the author. Be sure to get a copy of this book, a probe into the realities that are hiding inside the greatest country in the world. As always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and I'll see you next time.